Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Amrita Jumble and I make motherhood and lifestyle videos. I am fairly new to YouTube, so if you could give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. So today's video, guys, is all about my birth story. So I am a mom to a 2-year-old boy. So I had my baby back in May of 2018, and I recently found some footage when I was going through one of my cameras the day of, and it just flooded me back to all of these memories that I had, you know, going into labor, delivering, and becoming a mom. So I wanted to share that with you guys today, what my experience was like from pregnancy to childbirth and after. So let's start out with the pregnancy part. So for the most part, I had a smooth pregnancy. I actually enjoyed being pregnant. I know that's so strange because who says that? Like, who enjoys pregnancy? Luckily, I didn't have any sort of complications other than gestational diabetes, which my doctor made me, you know, take the glucose test way earlier than usual because it runs in my family, diabetes, that she wanted to do that, and it turns out I was diabetic, gestational diabetes. But I feel like that played a key factor in me not gaining as much weight throughout my pregnancy. So I only gained a total of 10 pounds because I was still eating whatever I wanted to, just in moderation, and I really wasn't going for too much sugar and too many carbs. So that really helped me like control my weight. I should try that again, but yeah, so that really helped me. But I just enjoyed being pregnant because I feel like, I don't know, I enjoyed like having that baby inside of me. I enjoyed feeling him. Like, it was just such an awesome experience. Carrying him, and you know, when you're pregnant you get all these massages and like people cater to you, and like it's great. So I really enjoyed it. I'm sure, you know, second time around, of course, when you have a toddler, you can't, it's not the same. But I mean, I really enjoyed my pregnancy up until like the last couple of weeks, when, you know, it's just hard to carry a child. I mean, you can't sleep, you can't move. It was pretty hard. So I was going to get induced because I do have gestational diabetes, or I did have gestational diabetes. They wanted to induce me because they didn't want the baby to be too big. So I went to an appointment. I went to my 37-week appointment, and the doctor was like, okay, everything looks good. We're gonna induce you next week. She was in the hospitals on Thursdays. It was a Wednesday, so she was like, next Thursday we're gonna induce you, and you know, we're gonna get this baby out. So I was like, okay, next week. I have all this time to prepare. I have a week to prepare. So okay, I'm gonna go get my nails done this day. I'm gonna get my hair done. I want to look cute. I got a matching robe with a pillow and like all this kind of stuff that I'm gonna, you know, bring into the room with me. Oh, we're gonna go to this restaurant for you know, our last meal, as you know, just me and my husband, and like I had this whole plan, right? So at that appointment, I was 2 centimeters dilated. She's like, you're already 2 centimeters dilated, but don't worry, that's normal, and you know, everything looks fine. So go home, everything was normal as is, and then at about 5 a.m. I woke up to use the restroom normal. I mean, when you're pregnant, I was getting up like 2, 3, sometimes even more to pee. So I got up to pee, and I'm peeing, and I hear a pop, and I'm like, okay. It wasn't like a loud pop, it was just like a pop, and I was like, okay, it wasn't gas. Okay, like I can just tell it wasn't gas. I was like, what in the world? So I'm like, okay, that was weird. So I come back to bed, and my husband's like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah. And he was like, are you okay? Like every like other minute while I was pregnant. So I was like, yeah, I'm fine. Let's just go back to sleep. So I'm like, okay, I'm not fine. I just peed on myself. I just wet the bed. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, like I just wet the bed. And I'm like, let me go use the restroom again. So I went to the restroom, and then like it was just constant sprinkle of water coming out. Like not like a gush. So my impression of my water breaking was like a gush of water. I don't know if that's from like, I don't know, movies or what. No one's ever told me like, hey, this is what happened when my water broke, because I don't really know anyone whose water broke before they went to the hospital. So I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So my first person that I always call when I'm confused is my brother-in-law, because he's a doctor. So I call him up and I'm like, Jiju, I don't know, like this is what's happening. Like, is this my water breaking? He's like, yes, I think it is your water breaking. And you need to call your hospital. I'm like, oh God, or your doctor. I'm like, okay. So then I call the hospital because they gave me directions what to do. So I call the hospital and tell them what's going on. They're like, okay, yeah, come to the hospital. We'll take a look. Make sure you bring everything because you could be going into labor. So I'm like, okay. I look crazy. My hair is greasy. I need to wash my hair. So I went, I washed, I took a full-on shower. I washed my hair, did the whole 9. My husband, of course, didn't pack his bag. I mean, I've been telling him for weeks, but he was like, oh, I have time. He didn't pack it. So he's like rushing, throwing stuff in a bag. I'm just freaking out because I'm like, I'm not ready. And then while I'm taking a shower, I'm starting to feel contractions. So I know they're contractions because they're coming and going, and they're really like painful. So it's like painful period cramps while I'm like showering, shampoo my hair, because I'm like, ah. So, okay, get out of the shower. I'm still like leaking a little bit, like that fluid is still coming out of me. So I'm like, okay. My husband's like running around, getting things ready, like freaking out. He goes downstairs and like, you know, gets everything, gets a towel. He puts the towel on the seat for me. So anyways, I'm like, just like freaking out. So I get in the car and I'm like, okay. And keep in mind, at this point, it's like about like 5:45 or something. And I mean, Houston morning traffic is really bad, and the hospital was not close to my house. The hospital was Texas Women's Hospital, which specifically just does deliveries. But it's in the medical center, which is like 45 minutes to an hour away from my house. So I was like, oh God, I hope we don't hit traffic. You know, every few minutes I'm having really bad contractions. So I'm like, oh my God. And my husband like is like, oh my God, are you gonna have the baby in the car? Oh my God, are you gonna have the baby in the car? I'm like, shut up and drive. Like, just drive, okay? So we're on the like express lane, the HOV, and you know, it still takes us like a good 40 minutes to get there. And I'm just like breathing in and out, deep breaths. It's getting worse. So we get there and they're like, okay, we're gonna check you first and we're gonna see what's going on. We're gonna put you in this different room or whatever. What's your doctor's name, blah, blah. So the nurse comes in to check and she's like, oh, okay, you're 7 centimeters dilated. You're having this baby today. So in between my appointment yet the day before and getting to the next morning, getting to the hospital and stuff, I'm 7 centimeters dilated. I was like, what? I'm having the baby? Because at that point I was like, I mean, I knew it, but I'm like, 7 centimeters? Like, what in the heck? Changed my clothes into the gown and they're like, okay, do you want the epidural? I'm like, yes, I need the epidural right now. And you know, you hear so many scary stories about epidural and, you know, the pain and this and this and this can happen and that can happen, but knock on wood, thank God. I mean, it was just so fast. I didn't even really have much pain. I got the epidural and then, you know, still in pain. It took a little while, but pretty soon I was just numb. Guys, this is like the craziest feeling. Like, no one told me this either. Like, the craziest feeling is not being able to feel your legs or feel your hips or feel anything below the waist. You're just like at times the nurse would be like, can you move over this way? The baby's doing this, or can you move over this way? And I was like, am I moving? Like, I can't even tell.
Hey babe.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm okay.
How you feeling?
I feel okay. I'm just numb.
Are you ready to meet the little man?
I am.
Are you excited?
I'm excited and nervous, both.
Don't worry, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
It's about to be an amazing day.
I'm gonna record you.
Here. I'm excited. I'm a little nervous also, but I think I'm more excited. It's gonna be okay.
Okay. Well, we're just waiting now, so we'll see what happens.
Yep. So game.
Luckily, I didn't need any Pitocin or anything to speed up my dilation. I was moving along fairly quickly. So yeah, before you knew it, we think we got there at the hospital around 7. By the time I started pushing, it was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was 10 centimeters and I pushed for an hour. Again, it was just crazy because I couldn't really feel anything. It was pressure, but I couldn't feel like anything. So I'm just like pushing and pushing and like, obviously it's tiring. Okay, first of all, before they were gonna even deliver me, it's like they bring out the big light, they bring out everything. They're like, okay, we're ready to push. And I'm like, wait, my husband's in the bathroom. I swear every time something needs to happen, this man is in the bathroom, including childbirth. I was like, oh my God, he's gonna like, come here, where are you? And at the same time, my sister and my mom are in the room. I was also in my sister's room for her childbirth. So yeah, she was in my room and my mom was there. And I'm actually really glad they were there because I needed that support. I needed that, like, you know, like, you can do it, just keep pushing. But luckily I was only in active labor, pushing wise, for an hour. My baby came out at 4:08 and oh my God, guys, that feeling, you know how they say like, when you see your baby for the first time, like you just fall in love, or like, it's just like this, he came out, well, they took him out and they're like, look, he's coming out of you. I was like, I don't wanna look, and my eyes closed. So they put him on my chest and that's when I opened my eyes and I saw him and I was just like, wow, like he's so perfect. Like this whole time, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. This whole time you're thinking like, oh my God, what is my baby gonna look like? Is my baby gonna be healthy? Like what's gonna, you know, like, and just seeing him for the first time, guys, I've never felt this feeling before. Like I wish I could relive it. It was just this instant like burst of like happiness and joy and love, and like I just felt so lucky. And I was just I cried for an hour. Literally, I cried for like an hour, just crying and crying. And my mom's like, why are you crying? Like the baby's here, he's beautiful. I'm like, that's why I'm crying. Like I'm just so happy. I can't stop crying. I just, like, even reliving it makes me tear up because it was just such an emotional, amazing moment. It was just, it was amazing. So he comes out and I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. They weigh him, they do everything. And then, you know, my mom and my sister leave the room and we're like, okay, what should we name him? We had like top 3 names, we had top 2. Look at him and our top name was Yuvraj, and we're like, he's definitely a Yuvraj, like we're naming him Yuvraj. So yeah, that was my experience in the hospital itself. Honestly, like the nurse, the staff, the doctor, like I just had, knock on wood, thank you God, such a good experience in that hospital. And with those nurses did so much of the work. I mean, the doctor was there too, but those nurses just really helped me. So I really feel grateful that I had that experience that I did. Even postpartum in the hospital, I mean, it's not pretty, guys. Like, you're bleeding a lot. You know, you're practically wearing a diaper. You can barely walk to use the restroom or to shower. So obviously my husband was helping me with everything. And then you just have this beautiful baby that they're like, okay, start breastfeeding. And you're just like, what? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know like what's going on. So it's a lot. Motherhood is a lot. Childbirth is a lot. I mean, everything was just so much at once. And you know, I was fine. I was perfectly normal and fine like the first day or 2. So the first, you know, day I was in the hospital for a total of 2 days, and those 2 days I was fine. And then the day we were leaving the hospital, I just had like a rush of emotions. And I feel like it was like, am I gonna be a good enough mom? I think that's what struck me. Like, how do I know what to do with this baby? Like, I don't, like, what if I'm hurting the baby? What if the baby isn't, like, what if, am I ready for this? I don't think I'm ready for it. And I just like full on tears, crying, like in the car and driving. And my husband and my mother-in-law were like, are you okay? Like, why are you crying? Like, I don't know why I'm crying. I didn't know. That newborn phase is such like a blur because it's exhausting, like feeding and, you know, burping, and then did I burp right? He didn't burp. Oh, he has gas. Like it's just constant feed, nap, you know, pump, or if you're pumping, pump, feed, burp, pump, I mean, nap, feed, burp. It's like, it's a constant thing. And honestly, for those first 2 weeks, guys, I cried every single day. I cried. I don't know what it was, and I really didn't feel, I really felt like I was depressed, and I was thinking like, do I have postpartum depression? Because every day I was just sad. I was just have an overwhelming sense of sadness. And my husband was like, what's wrong? Like, we have such a beautiful child. Like, you know, what's the issue? I'm like, I don't know what the issue is. I just don't feel like myself. I don't feel right. And I feel like if that had gone on for like another couple of weeks, I definitely would have gotten help, because I couldn't live like that. Thankfully it was just the baby blues. They went after 2 weeks, like literally it was like the 2-week mark. After that, I was myself again. Like, it was weird. Like, the baby was still being a newborn. The baby was still doing whatever it was doing. I was still, you know, having to pump or whatever I was doing. Pump and feed and burp and all that kind of stuff. But for some reason I just wasn't sad anymore. Like, I think you just don't realize that, like, you are a new person now. Like, you're a mother. Like, you're a new person. You're not that same person you were before giving birth. Like, you were, I mean, I saw something that said, like, when the baby is born, like, a new you is born too. It's true, because that life that you knew, or that person that you were, you're not the same person. But guys, it's the most magical, amazing journey ever. Like, I love my little boy so much. I love being a mom. I love everything about it. But yeah, man, pregnancy, labor, delivery, and I would say the 4th trimester, postpartum, is the hardest. The 4th trimester, you just got to get through those. Like, I would say the 3 months after giving birth are so, like, of emotions. Just physically you're drained, emotionally you're drained, and then if you have baby blues or if you have postpartum, you just don't feel right. You don't feel like yourself, and you just, luckily I was still able to connect with my baby and feel that love with my baby, and like, that never went away. I don't know if that's just not a sign of baby blues and that's more postpartum, but like, I can't even imagine, I mean, having that. But you know, and honestly, I wouldn't have been able to get through that newborn phase or that stage if I didn't have the support system that I had. Like, I had my, you know, my husband, just amazing throughout pregnancy, just right there for me throughout everything. And then my mom, I mean, my sister, like, just in the delivery room with me, both of them just being like, you know, a support system. And then even postpartum, my sister did so much. I mean, she really like was like, okay, I know, you know, I helped her with her twins, but there's nothing like somebody being like, okay, you need to do this, 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 and this, and then just having a baby, and then you got to figure it out. So that's kind of like what it was. Like, okay, I kind of know, but I kind of don't know. And she really stepped up and helped me and came to my house and was like, okay, calm down. You can do this. This is what you need to do. You need to get him on a schedule. You need to, like, you know, make sure his naps aren't too long during the day. You need to, like, be pumping around the clock if you want to breastfeed, which my breastfeeding journey was very short, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it was only a month long. Sorry, it was only a month long. And it was still, I was still doing mostly formula because I just wasn't making that milk. And I believe a lot of that had to do with those first 2 weeks that I was just so sad. I was so sad. I don't know what it was, and I just couldn't pump. And I couldn't do it. And if you're not pumping or constantly having the baby latch, because he wasn't really latching, if you're constantly not doing that, you're not gonna produce milk. That's just the bottom line. But honestly, I never had any guilt for formula feeding. And if somebody tries to guilt that me in why didn't I breastfeed, or you should have breastfed, or whatever it is, I will, okay, bye. Like, I don't wanna hear it. I hate mom shamers. I hate people that mom shame. Like, you don't live my life. You didn't go through what I'm going through. You don't know. So, just support me and keep it moving, because it's hard to be a first time mom in the first place and to hear that constant nagging from people and their opinions. But anyways, having an amazing support system really helps. I mean, my in-laws, my mother-in-law especially, really, to this day, I can't thank her enough for everything that she has done for, does for me, my baby, and myself, and my mom, like my friends, like just having that support system, especially if you have other mom friends. That's my journey. That was my journey to motherhood. That was my journey to pregnancy and everything else. And knock on wood, overall, I would say I've had a good experience. I did have baby blues, but I mean, there's so many people and women out there that have it so much worse than me with postpartum depression. So if you are a new mom and you're not feeling like yourself, please get help. But yeah, that's my story, and I hope you enjoyed watching this, or you gained something, or you didn't, you just watched it. I mean, thank you so much. Again, if you want to see more motherhood videos and lifestyle videos, please hit that like and that subscribe button down below, and I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys.